Hey y'all, thanks for tuning into episode 3 of It's Organic Over Here. Tasia and I chopped it up this week about a few different things, but we want to let you in on the conversation that we had about gatekeeping in the wellness industry and a little bit about how we reframe our mind around what it means to us to break a generational curse. Hope you enjoy.
And this is your bare face.
Mm-hmm.
And see, they can't see y'all. They can't see us, but yeah, it looks clean. It looks clear, and it looks natural. I mean, like that's the thing. It really is the food. It really
Yeah,
is what we consume, y'all.
yeah. So
Because
we're not gatekeeping, I promise.
while we're on here, I've been hearing that. I've kind of ventured on TikTok just a tad, and
Oh.
I ran across the video, and someone. It felt like she's in a transition of finding what her wellness journey looks like,
Mm-hmm.
and she's inspired by a few people, and when she engaged them, they weren't the friendliest, or she felt like they weren't the friendliest, and she used a term that I've heard a few times, like gatekeeping, like you just said, and y'all are gatekeeping, and the thing is, like, your wellness journey varies based off of where you are,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of hard giving information to people who are ready for it all at once. For
Mm-hmm.
example, when you first start eating clean, and if you're a meat eater your entire life, it's going to be hard for me to come in and tell you to just do what I do, because I understand that it's a process.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's necessarily always a gatekeeping thing. It's just like, what step are you on? Because based off of the step, I can provide information. And so sometimes I wonder, because I have a page, but right now it's just a page. It's nothing outside of that for me. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if people feel that way about me, because really, I don't share a lot of information, but I also don't know where people are
Yeah.
in their journeys until they engage and ask. And
Mm-hmm.
so I only brought that up because I'm like, I wonder if people feel in unison with her about folks gatekeeping a health and wellness journey, when it's like, no, it's here
Yeah.
for everybody. It's just a journey. Like, I don't know where you are to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
things take time too.
I think um, to go back to what you said, like it's a process, and
Right.
where we are now is not where we started, and where we are now is not where we'll be in another year. So it's we can give advice or tips or insights or whatever based on where we are or what we've gone through, what we've experienced. But like you say, it's personal and it's unique to where you are in that moment.
Right.
I I have encountered, I've met like tons of women and men on wellness journeys. And it's not typical that anyone on a health journey or wellness journey gatekeeps. Most time everybody want to share everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what happens sometimes is we can probably become a little anxious about sharing because we don't know like where the other person is and if they will receive it, or we
Mm,
don't always want to push like our way of thinking on them and make them feel judged. So that's like a tricky space to be in, especially like just going back to what you were saying earlier about you still see seafood kind of like meat.
right. In a
And
lot of
so,
ways.
right. And so I can identify with where you were because that was something that I had to really break past because in my mind, the meal was not complete if I didn't have something that looked
Right.
like meat.
Right.
If I didn't have a piece of salmon on there, then the meal wasn't complete. If I didn't have some scallops or shrimp or like something, the meal wasn't complete. I had a vegetable, I had a starch, like the meal to me just was not complete. And it took me forever to get to a point where I was like, no, this plate looks fine with just, these greens and these grains and, and it
Yeah.
starches. Like it's perfect. It's complete. And even once I started to break away from like the seafood, I converted over to mushrooms. So I still like had the mentality
That
that
meaty
yeah,
texture.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I had to have a meaty texture. So I say that to say, um, if someone were to ask me like a meal plan and they were in the space where you are, where you're trying to break that thought process of I have to have them beat. And if someone were to ask me for a meal plan and where I am now, I'm going to give them a meal plan that won't necessarily include a meat like, you know, alternative for them.
Right.
Now, I will, because of who I am, I'll do my due diligence in understanding where they are. But if I'm not thinking about it and they just ask me, hey, what's something that you eat? I'm going to give them a meal kind of like something what I had the other Sunday. And it's not going to have, you know, anything on the plate that looks reminiscent of me. And they might be like, I can't do this. So
Right.
sometimes, like, I say all of that to say it is a little tricky sometimes when you're trying to, you know, relay information to give information to someone. And it might come off as though you're gatekeeping, but you're really not. So I hate
Mhm.
that that's her experience. But I don't generally run into anybody who, you know, wants to gatekeep. Everybody wants to share where they
Same.
are, what they've done, what they've tried, what worked, what didn't work. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I think
can
we
I
probably
can see
talk
it
more than
being
anybody.
overwhelming. I'm so
Mhm.
sorry. What was you saying?
No, I said I think, you know, anybody in the wellness space probably talk about their journey more than anything and anybody. Like that's just a part of it. Like we're learning this stuff and we want to share. We want everybody else to learn it too. So
So true.
I hate that's her experience, but I'm not saying that that's not true. I'm not saying that's not the case, but I don't generally run into that. And if it's being perceived that way, I think I understand why a little bit.
Yeah, I think I understand too. I think that there's a lot of information out there in the beginning, and you just like kind of walking into this venue
Mm-hmm.
of I want to say maybe like different vendors in my brain, and you're just
Mm-hmm.
kind of collecting information around the room. And
Yeah,
then at some point, you're gonna keep some of the stuff that you collected, and some stuff you're just not gonna ever use, and you
yeah,
just happy you have the knowledge. You may use it, you may not,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then you continue to build your style of how you want to live your life or your
yeah.
lifestyle.
Right. Yeah,
And
your lifestyle. Yeah,
and
yeah.
for me, I think that that's why I understood that she was just more than likely overwhelmed with all of the information, and more than likely just like, okay, kind of had how I had that moment, get this fat off of me. I just
Yeah,
want to get it off of me type
yeah,
of thing. Like she's probably there in her journey because like you said, like we're all exhibiting different lifestyles. And if you're interested in a specific type of lifestyle based off of someone you have been inspired by, you just kind of mock what they do, but it may or may not work for you. And that's
yeah.
why I don't always feel comfortable telling people initially what exactly I do. I
Mm,
like kind of keeping it general, like I work out, I eat well, and I'm
yeah,
not trying to be funny, but I
yeah,
drink. I try to get enough rest because my dietary restrictions for my specific body may be too strict for someone else. So
yeah.
I try not to promote my whole life copy paste. It's the
Mm,
things that I do that I know everyone can achieve based off of what it is that they're trying to do.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I think for me, one of the most important things, I've always been like, you know, I love food. I've always shared, even when I was, you know, in my pre, you know, health journey self. I was cooking and taking pictures of that food and showing it if I, you know, made some good old baked chicken or some beef stew or some macaroni, collard greens, some dressing, like whatever it was, I was still doing the same thing that I do now.
Mm,
And so that was just kind of like a natural part of me. So when I started to share about my health journey, it wasn't that I just woke up one day and was like, "Oh, I'm going to share my health journey." I just was doing what I naturally already did anyway. I love
mhm,
food. I love to cook. And I just shared and, you know, then I started to, I think as I started to get some questions maybe as to, you know, well, why you eat that? Or, you know, that changed or, you know, just different things. Or, is that good? That I think that probably was the number one question. Well, does that taste good? Because that's a little
mm,
different than what you were just eating about 6 months ago. That's a little different.
yeah,
So I think that's probably when I started to add just a little bit more to it to talk about like why it looked different or you know why I
mhm,
was eating something that was different. But um, for me, it's always about, especially if there's someone that's online who is sharing their journey, which majority of us, you know, do on our socials. Only thing I would say that would be really helpful for others, like the lady you say you saw on TikTok, would be just to share it as authentically and as
Yeah,
transparent as possible.
I agree.
Because I remember when I was still teetering back and forth between dairy and no dairy, I'm very, very, very transparent in saying I like what I like. And I might say I'm gonna not do it today, and then by next week, I might be like, "Never mind, y'all. I fell off the bed, fell off the wagon." And I would
Yeah,
say that, like, it wasn't like I'm never eating dairy anymore. I never. I'm going. This is what I'm working towards. This is what I'm because realistically, that's what it looks like behind closed doors, not online.
exactly.
Online, it looks like, oh, I just showed up and I'm a vegan today, and that's not true. Like,
No.
it just isn't. Like, if you went cold turkey, my hat goes off to you because I didn't go cold turkey.
Listen.
It was a battle to give up cheese. It's still a battle to give up
Yeah.
cheese. So I remember I was trying to, and I was, online communicating about it, and I was like, "Y'all, I'm giving up dairy. I'm trying to give up milk. I'm trying to give up cream and cheese and and butter and all of this." Butter was real easy to give up. Like, I just stopped cooking with butter. Um, Milk was easy to give up because I don't drink milk. I pretty much cook with it. That was easy. Eggs was easy once I learned what to replace it with. So based on what I was wanting to cook, I needed to figure out a replacement for the egg. So that was easy. But that cheese was
Man.
hard. And I have been talking about it like online. I was blogging about it. I was vlogging about it and all of this and stuff. And then one day, I think it was probably like around that time, and I wanted me some salmon with a good cream spinach sauce. And I needed
Mm.
some Parmesan, and I wanted like the heavy whipping cream. And I was like, forget this. I went to the store and I bought it. And I could have made it and sat at home and ate it and not shared it. And still showed up online like, hey y'all, I'm still not eating dairy. No, and I just tore that Parmesan cheese up, that cream spinach, and that
Right.
heavy whipping cream, knowing I was like, y'all gonna get this. Yes, I fell off the wagon and I got attacked
Oh
for being transparent.
no.
Yes, I was, oh, you didn't have to do that. You could have had cashew cream sauce. I don't like cashew cream sauce. To this day, I still don't eat cashew cream sauce. I wanted Parmesan cheese mixed in that heavy whipping cream with some
Yeah.
spinach. I still got the picture on my page to this day where I literally say I fell off and I was attacked.
I mean, at least you were being transparent because you didn't have to show that, this is
I
how we
didn't.
eat in the background.
I didn't, but I did. And so I say that to say if there was anything that I think would probably be helpful is if, and I'm not saying that others who share their journey online are not, because I definitely believe that they are. I see it all the time. But
Mhm.
it would probably be helpful if collectively we all just spoke about it and shared about it. If we're going to share it from a place of transparency and not I just woke up one day like this because I didn't.
Ooh, that's really good. Because I'm just sitting here thinking, like this last few weeks, I don't really post a lot of pictures of my past self,
Mm,
and there's no particular reason outside of I know that I did it. I feel like the few followers know that I did it. Do I want to keep throwing it in your face? Do I
mm,
want to keep throwing it in my face?
yeah.
But I feel like the disservice that I have with that sometimes is people think they just met me, think that I've always been this way. I don't think you're required to see who I
Mm,
was, but I often get you make it look easy, and it's just like,
mm.
no, ma'am. No, sir.
I got that for the first time last week at the gym.
Really?
Yeah, I was talking to this lady and we were doing a tour of the gym, and she was saying something. She's a breast cancer survivor,
Oh,
and
wow.
she was sharing some, I can't remember exactly what it was that she said, but she was saying something about a particular machine and wanting to learn how to use it, and all the weight that she had already lost and how it was challenging to like use that machine before or something like that she was saying. And I was like, oh yeah, I was like, when I was much heavier, I was like, I had trouble, doing that as well. And she was like, what you mean much heavier? And I was
That's
like
hilarious.
85 pounds heavier. And she was like, you look like you always been that way. And I was like,
Wow.
nah, no, not at all. Like, but I guess back to what you're saying, like being mindful that some people do think that we always, look this way
Yeah.
or that this.
It's a blessing because you just don't know who I used to be. And I'm not necessarily ashamed. It's just a blessing to know that you don't know that side. But I think that I will share a little bit more,
Yeah.
um, because it's a blessing to be on the other side.
Hmm.
I pray for nights like this and days like this. I'm on
Yeah.
my meals right now, but you get what I'm saying. Like I
Yeah.
prayed for it. God is just so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is good. And I think it's important um to share, like if you have that about you and you feel comfortable with sharing with others and it's
Hmm.
something that you feel could be helpful to someone. I think it's helpful for them to see the totality of it as best as you can convey it. You don't have to tell like every little detail, but it's helpful for them to be able to see the totality of it, especially with women like us. Because I know when I started out, there like the market is saturated now with women, black women influencers in the health and wellness space, and they're niched down in like a billion different ways, and you can find one that you can identify where there's literally someone out there for everyone that speaks their language, that speaks to where they are in the process and the journey or whatever. But I know when I started out, and I don't even though I started like moving towards a plant-based diet 4 years ago. I didn't start out that way, and I didn't start out just 4 years ago. I've been cracking away at this for upwards of probably about 7 or 8 more years, where I've been trying to figure out things, and all I had to go on were documentaries.
Mm.
Documentaries about the food system, or
Right.
reading a book that maybe, I don't know if you remember Dr. Ian Smith, the weight
I,
loss weight
I
loss guy.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like Dr. Ian Smith was my guy. He was my guy. I read every book that he came out with.
Mm.
I was
He did
yo-yo
write a lot of
dieting.
books.
Yeah, he wrote a lot of books.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
yeah. So I was reading Dr. Ian Smith. Like I was up in Barnes and Nobles quick. As soon as he dropped a book, oh, let me go in here and get this book. And I'm in here yo-yo dining. I forget what this diet was. The 90-day shred, I think it was.
I feel like one of did I have that? Somebody had that book.
I think it was a 90-day shred. And I read this book front to back, and I did everything he said, and I lost the weight, and then I gained it
Wow.
back,
Oh,
because it was
wow.
just like, and I'm not knocking him, like he definitely knew, what he was talking about. It worked,
Right.
but it didn't help me develop habits. It just was like, here's a plan that you can do to shred the weight, not necessarily change your lifestyle. And so, it was like detailed instructions and a detailed plan that would just say, at this time of day, eat this, and at this time of day, eat that, and then the next day, switch it up. Essentially, it was like diet confusion, like a diet confusion type of
Oh,
situation, where you're like tricking your body and confusing your body into shedding weight, because your body don't know what to do or how to respond to all the changes you're putting it through. So it just starts dropping weight, and it worked. But by the time I got to the end of them 90 days and the book was over, I didn't
oh
have no habits
no.
that I had developed other than reading this book. And when the book was over and the meal plan was over, either I started a meal plan over, which I wasn't going to do because it was so extreme. In that time, it was extreme. But I just was like, all right, let me bear through it and get rid of the weight. I finished the book, the weight came back.
Wow.
And this was like long before, 4 years ago, before I started. This was, oh my goodness, that was 4 years ago. Then this has got to have been like 7, 8 years ago when I was doing that.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, this ain't gonna work. So then I tried keto. That was a nightmare. Like I was all over the place. So I say all of that to say, when I started, I didn't have, and I was online, but I didn't
Mhm.
see wellness influencers that looked like me or that spoke my language or spoke directly to what I needed in that moment of where I was starting to help me develop a lifestyle change that was like doable. And that seemed simple.
Right.
So yeah, I would say for sure share, like as much as you
Yeah.
can, as much as you feel comfortable with, because you never know who might see it and will only take it from you and who can relate to you and will be
That is
blessed
so
by it.
true.
So
That is so true.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. So hopefully she finds her tribe, the lady on TikTok that
I
you
mean,
was.
there were a slew of comments, and I didn't read them. Sometimes
You
I do,
didn't? I
sometimes
wish
I
you
don't.
had it so we can read them. I want to see what they're saying. I want to see if like that's the norm.
Right.
I want to be mindful of that for sure. I want to see if that's the norm. We're gonna have to look that up.
We're gonna have to look it up, and then I'll get all the comments, and we'll
Yeah,
take a glance at
maybe we
how
can get
people
some
feel.
feedback on it. Like if someone else has
Ooh,
felt like they've been, asking for help or questions or looking for someone to assist them, and they felt like they were like gatekeeping information.
yeah, that'll be a good
To
one.
share.
I think so too. If y'all are listening, don't gatekeep this podcast. I know that sounds
Yeah,
super, cheesy, but please send it to all your friends
yeah,
and family.
because we're not
Let
gatekeeping over here.
We not gatekeeping. Like we said, it's organic over here.
It's
Like,
organic over here.
and I don't always have all the things that are correctly stated the way it needs to be stated, but my experience is enough, and Sharita's experience
Yeah,
and the expertise that we've done. So
yeah,
we're gonna share what has worked for us.
yeah, for
That's all
sure,
you can do.
for sure, for sure, for sure.
Mhm.
So this meme that I had saw, I think I sent it to you a few weeks ago, maybe.
Okay.
Was it going? I think it had Bart Simpson. Maybe it had the Simpsons on there, and it was talking about generational. What was it? Wellness.
Yeah. Ooh. I want to say yeah. Let me double
Yeah,
triple check.
generational wellness. I had to look. I want to go back and find it. And whatever it was that day when they sent it, ooh, I was feeling it that day. I was like, I'm over here fighting for my life in this generational wellness situation, and it
Oh,
ain't
Lisa
easy.
with the
Remember?
tears. I
That's
see it
what it.
now.
You see
Yes,
it?
yes.
Okay, send it to me real quick. I get.
Lisa with the tears, man. She was out
That's
here
what it was. I
crying.
can't believe you went and found it. That's
Yes,
funny.
ma'am. I sure did.
Okay. Oh, are you texting it?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah.
I just
I
got
just
it.
sent it.
There it
I
is.
just sent
Yeah.
it. Do you want to share with the people so they can know what's
It's
going
funny
on?
now looking at it, but it wasn't funny in the moment when I sent it to you because I really was feeling like,
Hands is stretched out. So let me explain it to what's going on, people. We have Lisa Simpson from The Simpsons in tears. She looks shattered. The only thing that's sitting pretty is her pearl necklace.
I'm
And
curling.
so at the top of the meme, it says, "Why I gotta be the one to break all these generational curses?" And she looked distressed. And it's funny because if you follow The Simpsons, it looks like she would be the one. She's the
Yeah.
Terry of the family. If you're familiar with Soul Food, the movie,
Yeah.
um, she's the is she the eldest? No, I think Bart is the eldest. But
Yeah.
anyway, he's the one who's gonna do it.
And so the caption says, great question. When African Americans talk about generational curses in the context of health, it usually refers to patterns of chronic illness, limited access to care, and inherited trauma that have been passed down through families, often linked to both genetics and systemic inequalities. I don't remember what was going on that day, but I felt everything in this image at the time. And I think I wrote it in the comments. I was like, but no, seriously though. I think I said, I'm over here like like R. Kelly, I'm fighting for my life, man.
I think that every generation gets an opportunity to do what they can, as much
Mm,
as they can, as far as they can go, and then you pass the torch. And the thing is, do you want to pass a torch of triumph, or do you want to kind of keep carrying the torch of pain? And I think it's up to every individual to take a stab at it. And
mm,
so I don't know if it's a curse. I think it's an opportunity. If you're a being of light,
mm,
it's a chance for you to shine until it's time for you to go.
mm.
So I think that
I love how you reframe that. An opportunity.
it is an opportunity for me because that's what I mean. Because like, really, why are we here? What level of impact? I don't think that you have to suffer in
Mm,
order to experience life, but
That's been my
it's
word
like
this week, by the way. Confirmation,
a,
impact.
Yes, impact, purpose. Like I see it as an opportunity to build, create, and if my light gets to shine while I'm here. Thank you for me, God, for giving me the opportunity to be the one you chose to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for stepping up and being a part of that.
Yeah.
It did used to feel that way until I adopted an abundant mindset.
Hmm.
And I realized that anything beneath that is going to make me feel bad about what I'm supposed to do.
Hmm.
I haven't always been here mentally, but
Yeah.
I had to get there so I can start appreciating the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the reframe. I
You
like.
see, I don't see it as a reframe though. You see it as a reframe?
Oh, absolutely, it's a reframe for sure. Because when you hear generational curse and the way it's talked about, especially online, a lot of times it feels like a burden.
For sure.
Um, I remember. I'm. I know you know this about me. I probably don't ever say it like this, but I'm a teen. You know, I was a teen mom,
Yeah.
and I remember the first time I ever heard the term generational curse was from my uncle when I got pregnant with my daughter. And he has like this, you know, real heart to heart conversation with me. And he says, "This is a generational curse that we're going to end with you. You're going to end this." And I was like, okay, all right.
Mm.
Like giving me this pep talk. And I'm like, all right, I got this. I got this. And when my daughter graduated from high school, who is now, she'll be 23 this summer. And when she
Mm.
graduated from high school, I remember just having this feeling like, I broke the generational curse, graduated my baby, and she's
Oh.
graduated from high school. She's not a teen mom now. Here she is, 23 years old, and by no means am I saying I want her to have a child now. She's still wrapping up college herself. But I'm
Right.
like the other day, so, you know, what age you think you're going to give me some grandkids? I'm like,
Oh, wow.
you know, maybe 30, 35. She was like, Mom, stop. Stop, mother. That's what she calls
Yeah.
me. But I say that to say, the mind frame that I think I was in when he talked to me about, you know, breaking that generational curse. I didn't think much about it then, but just hearing it, you say, you know, talk about the way I say you reframed it. I think that was definitely my mindset then. I was like, you know, he broke down to me what it was and how it had impacted our family and the women in our family, and even, you know, now myself
Yeah.
succumbing to it. And he was like, it starts with you. It starts with your daughter, and you're not going to pass it on. And she's going to, you know, carry the torch in a new way with the women in our family. And I was like, all right, bet, got it.
Yeah.
He tossed me the ball and I ran it. And so I shout out to my
Yeah.
uncle for planting the seed.
Yes, the seed was planted, you
Yeah.
grew, and you made sure to
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So yeah, I guess it, they're not burdens. I think it's just the word curse. So maybe we should say something else instead of calling it a generational curse. A generational, I don't know, not an opportunity. Well,
I
yeah,
don't
it's
know.
an opportunity to usher our bloodline into a new way of living, into new heights. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
It takes some time understanding it when you are giving. Okay, so let me just speak from my experience. Coming from a family that overwhelmingly had a lot of health issues,
Mm,
and I literally watched my loved ones almost one by one leave because of all the stuff that I eventually got. It was very much fight or flight, and I just decided to fight it out.
yeah.
Not flight it out, meaning run away, but I decided to just live and try to, how can I live my life considering that I have kidney disease, but it's being treated by a kidney transplant? How can I still live my life to the fullest? And I'm like, well, that's an opportunity to break it for my kids. That's an opportunity to rewrite it DNA through my body to make sure that when my child gets here, my children are here, they don't have to deal with this stuff. They don't have to consider high blood pressure, diabetes, and all of the other various stuff that I've had to deal with and been prompted to consider in terms of my health. I don't want them to keep dealing with that. So that's when I said, okay, maybe God put me on a mission to do it, to
Yeah.
kind of rewrite that and, carry the torch of healthy habits and wellness. And so
Yeah.
that's, I guess I just have to think like this. Cause if you don't, if you don't think like not in a psych your way out, because I'm excited about the opportunity. But if you don't think of it as an opportunity, it just doesn't make you want to live.
Mm,
It doesn't make you want to continue to pour and give and invest into whatever God has for you if you
yeah,
don't buy into it. So I
yeah,
guess that's why my head is like, it was a curse, but I'm breaking it
yeah,
in real time. So this is an opportunity to switch
yeah,
it.
yeah. I know my and my family, especially the women, I know for sure suffer with a lot of chronic illness. And my mom, who passed away from chronic illness when she was 55, I remember when she was diagnosed and she was given, I think the doctor gave her like 5 years to, for
Mm,
her, for her life or whatever. And we were very, of course, devastated and sad about it. But I remember, like, I was saying maybe a couple years into it, she spent like the first couple of years like fighting it as in, going to doctors, seeing if there was any cures. There were times where she ended up going to like the hospitals where, like the study hospitals or whatever, where they would do like these, trial tests and things on her, just trying to figure out how to prolong her life or to reverse her illness. And at some point, even that became just overwhelming. And she was like, you know what? I'm just going to live. I'm going to live my life and I'm
yeah.
going to enjoy the time that I have here. I'm going to travel. I'm going to see the world. I'm going to spend time with my family and my friends. And I'm going to do activities I've never done. I remember she went on her first cruise during that, that time span, and she had the time of her life. Like when she transitioned, when she passed away, she was on vacation. She was about to come home from vacation. She was
Mm,
living. And so I say that to say, you're right. Like, even again, going back to what I was saying earlier about coming from, a group of strong, mentally resilient women, like they reframed the mind. They were like, all right, these are the circumstances. This is the hand I've been dealt, but here's I'm gonna walk it out. Here's I'm gonna live it, and it is what it is.
it really is what it is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you were saying earlier, mastering the mind. Once
Mm,
you have, or at least master parts of it, and eventually I'm sure it'll all follow through
yeah.
as we mature and get older. But this is my reality. If this is lemons, how can I make lemonade? That type
Mm.
of thought
Okay,
process.
B.
Yes, yes. I love that album, by the
I
way.
was gave I was given lemons, but I made lemonade.
Make lemonade, so it doesn't all have to be bad. And I just see it as an opportunity, as being a messenger at this point. How can I
Mm,
get the word out? How can I tell folks that you can still live after some of this stuff and still be free, and people not even think that it's impacting you when you do what you have to do, when you
mm-hmm.
when you're not around people to take care of yourself. So yeah, that's how
Come
I
on,
kind
somebody.
of. It's
We
here.
making lemonade.
And look, this is the lemonade episode. Just kidding.
This is a lemonade episode.
Lemonade
This
episode.
better be the summer and lemonade.
Yes,
Summer and
and
lemonade. That's what I'm thinking.
I think so.
I'm thinking.
Well, that's all for this month's episode. We hope you enjoyed it, found it relatable, and found at least one helpful thing that you can take into your wellness journey. Make sure to message us here with your feedback. Let us know what you think, and send us your questions to be read out loud on the next episode, the second Wednesday of every month. So make sure to follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Patreon at Organic Over Here. Set your notification, like, share, subscribe, and help us spread the word. Until next time, stay well. Bye, y'all.